Welcome to the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Here you will find a variety of shows which cover a wide array of interests, from comics to creativity, mysteries to mixology, and science to history. There's something for all interests at the Rising Tide. There are shows every day of the week, daytime and nighttime. So take a look at our schedule and see what appeals to you. If you're interested in comics, both independent and mainstream, check out Comics Chaos and Sass, or Comic Book Spectrum, or From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. If you want encouragement and advice on furthering your creativity, we have Creative as Hail and Tidbits and Scribbles. If you enjoy mysteries and conspiracy theories, we have The Truth Mongers. If you're into interviews with up-and-coming talents, there is a TED Talks made just for you, as well as clever title pending. If you're into classic combat sports, there's the Historical Fencing Guild. And if you want to know what it's like to hang out with convention regulars, we have Stupid O'Clock and Last Man Standing. If you want witty repartee and fast-paced fun, check out Nevermind the Furthermore. If the science of rocketry and spaceflight is your thing, we have Armchair Rocket Science. But that's by no means all the Rising Tide has to offer. New shows will be added as they develop, so stay tuned. All Rising Tide shows share a spirit of mutual cooperation, under the philosophy that a rising tide raises all ships. Lightly ruled over by our comic master of mayhem, Brian K. Morris, we support and promote each other's work. What helps one of us to grow success helps all of us achieve even more success. So look at the schedule, check out the shows, and we're sure that you will want to come back for more.
Hi, this is Dan Hollifield, and this is Last Man Standing. Sorry for the extra long intro there, but there was a gastronomic distress going on, and I had to duck out for just a second once I actually got the show running. So here we go. Without further ado, let's bring on Bill. Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. Boy, that advertisement got really echoey.
Yeah, and I've got to redo it one more time and put in the newest version of the schedule card because Ted has changed his. There's not going to be a TED Talks on Thursday anymore for a while, and by the end of this month, Drinking with the Davies is going to go back to every week instead of every third week, things like that. I do believe I did have the Dastardly Dingoes included on that version. I'm not sure, but I was glad to get Michaela's morning motivationals, and Keisha is doing her late night with Keisha at least once a week now. So that's it's not always on the same night though. So it's whenever she's got time to spare, so that one's still going to be kind of general in there. And I don't know if Joe Dog is still doing the Armchair Rocket Science bi-weekly updates.
I don't know.
We'll just have to ask him sometime.
But, when I was hearing the echoes in there, it put me in the mind of the Monty Python movie Time Bandits, where the guys of course, stole the map, and then you see the big head, bring back the map, return the map, bring back the map, and big old echoey voice, which of course was God. And I'm glad that when you finally saw God in person at the end, he was this kindly old English gentleman. And I often wonder if the George Burns Oh God movies, which there was I know at least 2 of them out at the time had anything to do with that or not.
I don't know, but it's a shame that Terry Pratchett wasn't more prevalent back then, because he would actually have been great in that part.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I can't think of the actor's name who did play God in Time Bandits, but he did a rather good job at it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, imagine John Cleese. It'd be just a bunch of shouting and smiting going on.
Yeah. Well, he couldn't have been that, because as you remember, John Cleese was Robin Hood in the movie.
Well,
thank you very much. And then the other guy kept punching out the people, and finally Cleese turns to the guy, one of the merry men, and he says, I don't mean to be rude, but is that absolutely necessary? And the merry man, yeah, I'm afraid it is. And he's, oh, okay. But
oh Lord,
yeah, love that movie, and we have George Harrison to thank for it ever happening, because he fully financially backed it.
He was a great influence in getting Holy Grail done too.
Yes, exactly. And he had a wonderful song, Dream Away, in Time Bandits too, which you never saw it on vinyl until his album Gone Tropical came out. And then you see Dream, and we never knew. I remember when we saw Time Bandits in the movie theater, we snuck a tape recorder in there to record just that song, because we loved that. We saw the movie 2 or 3 times and loved that song so much. And me and my friend actually called it Only a Dream Away, because he keeps repeating that in the song. And then when we see in the back of the Gone Tropical album this song called Dream Away, we're like, could it be? Could it be? And you hear those opening slide guitar notes at the beginning of the song, and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
Finally have it.
Love it when a plan comes together.
Absolutely.
I have to go and get another beer.
Okay.
Is your auction still going on? Is that ended yet?
No, it's still going on. And actually, with Laura having bronchitis, she's a little slow at doing anything to get ready for this Sunday. But there will be some things that will still be on there, and some things that will be relisted that didn't get the bids. But
well, my point was, while I'm on my way to the beer fridge, why don't you tell people about the auction and some of the stuff that you know has not gone under the hammer yet? So
let me ask you this: if I send you a picture in Facebook Messenger, like I do to John all the time, can you post that up on the screen while I'm talking about it?
Well, I'll be going to the beer fridge.
Oh, you gotta stay there with it the whole time.
Well, no, I've got to figure out how to do it and get it displayed.
Oh, okay. Well, I sent it to you, and we could just wait till you come back, I guess. Or unless you don't know, or unless you can't do it on there. But I don't know how John does it.
I don't know how John does it either.
And I don't know if it's just if he screenshots it, or if there's an actual link or something. I'm not sure. But
this may be the best I can do.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hey,
it all works.
Hey, it's the best I can do for right now.
Okay.
I'll be right back, but you tell the folks all about that.
Okay. Well, like Dan said, we got we did a estate sale back in August for some people that were locally here in Danville. The man ran a standard service station, gas station, basically. And anyway, unfortunately, he had passed away some years ago, and his wife passed away just a year ago. Their children went ahead and contacted my friend's friend who runs Glamour Girls Estate Sellers, and to have an estate sale. And so anyway, we had the estate sale back in end of August, a little bit over a month ago. But there were some things, some items on there that were really too good to just sell in the estate sale. So what we did was we looked them up, and if they were sold on eBay for anything over $20, we would pull those back to sell on eBay. And that's what we're doing now. We are just almost at the end of week 2 of the eBay auctions. Everything that we're selling here is vintage, 50 years or older. Hot Wheels red line cars from 1967, 68, 69, Johnny Lightning. There's Mark's action figures. Oh, that's better.
Yes, I figured out how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. G.I. Joes, as you see in the pictures. And talking G.I. Joes at that, which right now, I believe the bid on it, I want to say is $86. And there's still 3 days.
Would that be the talking G.I. Joes with the Kung Fu gripe?
No, this is the ones from 1964, the first series.
As opposed to the Kung Fu grip, the talking G.I. Joes with the Kung Fu gripe.
Yeah, because after moving those Kung Fu grips after a while, they tend to break. They did the Kung Fu grip because people complained about the plastic hands breaking every time their kids tried to put the weapons or the shovels or whatever in the hands. But then, so they said, well, we'll come out with the Kung Fu grip. And so anyway, they did that. Well, then you found out after a while, it would start, the rubber on it would start to tear. And it happened to my brother's Kung Fu grip Adventure Team G.I. Joe with the lifelike hair and beard. But in the comments, I put the link to Laura's eBay thing, because I didn't think you had how Joe did it with the scroll on the bottom. And oh, there you go. That works right there. And so it will be going on, and for at least another week. Her meds get kicked in and she's feeling better. She'll be back up to it again. But right now we have enough items on there between the toys and other stuff from the estate sale that we pulled back, a lot of collectible stuff, that it won't be like, well, where is everything? Well, so we got more G.I. Joe stuff to add to it. We got more Hot Wheels stuff to add. We have Captain Action and Action Boy to add to it, and a few things of theirs. Of course, the comics that I showed you guys last week, which I still have them here. Mm-hmm. Those are going to be added. I just got to get them to Laura. and she's got to be well well enough to do it.
Mm-hmm. Bless you.
Sorry about that.
You've been hanging out with Laura too long. You getting sick too.
Well, believe it or not, in person, I haven't seen her since the weekend. So last weekend, I think it was last Saturday. Yeah, I hope I'm not getting anything like that. But she had a lot of congestive problems and had to take shallow breaths and everything. Of course, we were greatly concerned, and when she did the rapid COVID test and found out that was negative, we're like, okay, now I'm concerned for a different reason.
Yep. Well, at least that was negative. It's got to be something that's a little bit more survivable.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I just lost, my cousin Sarah Heiser, who gets in here on Stupid O'Clock, it's her either first or second cousin, Jeff Alsop, and he just succumbed to complications due to COVID and MS.
Yeah.
He is trying to think his age now. I think he's 68 or 69 now. I don't remember.
Young.
And so, anyway, kind of a sad thing. And a lot of, and I guess he had his shots and didn't matter. So, but like I said, I think having MS and I believe he was diabetic as well, which of course that complicates everything greatly.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Well, my condolences, and please pass the best wishes along to the family.
Yeah, unfortunately, I will not be able to attend the funeral because it's going to be up in Baraboo, Wisconsin, where they lived. But my cousin Sarah is actually riding with Jeff's brother Jim and his nurse to go up there. So I'm glad that she'll be able to go up. And I just told her, I said, well, I'll be up there in spirit. And that, but you know, there's a lot of crud going around, and now they're calling the pandemic possibly might be a twin-demic if they feel that people aren't getting their flu shots and having that creep back up. You know, literally there was hardly anybody had the flu last year.
Oh yeah.
And
everybody was masked up and
masked, and nobody went anywhere. Nobody could go inside
the barricades of their house. Yeah,
yeah.
An awful lot of social mixing. So there was a lot less chance of the that particular type of flu to be passed around. Concrud is going to be with us always, but that's something entirely different. It's just a lot of people in a very small space, and somebody is always under the weather and is so generous that they need to share it with everybody around them.
Well, that's one thing. I think I was telling you guys backstage, Stupid O'Clock, the 2 years that Laura's worked where she is gainfully employed, she had never missed a day of work until yesterday. And she was really bummed that she was going to have to call in, but obviously there was no other thing that she could do. And
when you get sick, you've got to call in.
You got to call in, and you got to take care of yourself, and you got to keep other people from getting sick.
Yeah,
even wearing the mask, because the mask isn't going to protect you 100%. And then if you got the mask on, especially with bronchitis, you're not going to be able to last too long. That shallow breathing is going to get that much more shallower. So anyway, she's got some good meds, good antibiotic, and inhaler to use, which she's tried both of those tonight. And anyway, those Z-Packs get kicked in, and that I think she'll be feeling a lot better. Hopefully by Sunday. I know she was scheduled to work. Well, she's got to take tomorrow off, of course, again. And this is the reason why I'm taking her dad to the auction if he wants to go, and which I'm sure he will. It'd just be a little weird without Laura and that. Yeah. And we'll both miss her, because she's one of the three amigos as far as the auction goes. But
I know how that is. I really know how that is. Yeah.
Yeah, but so her manager said, well, look, I'm going to take you off the schedule for Saturday, because I just don't think you're going to be able, even if you're feeling better, we want you all the way better. And so anyway, she's not scheduled now to go back to work until Monday. And I'm really hoping that she'll be back to normal by then.
Well, good luck on that. Yeah, and I'm hoping she is too.
And I had it with when I had whooping cough a good number of years ago, and that's something you think, oh, childhood ailment. Well, once again, later in life, you can get it. And my little coughing fits tonight was nothing compared to what was going on. I was working at a Kmart at a time, couldn't stop the coughing, and it's enough to where it kind of gives you a feeling of having your head in a bag, and then all of a sudden you're about ready to want to pass out. And when I went into the clinic to see what was going on, when they told me that I had whooping cough with a touch of bronchitis, it about floored me to hear the word whooping cough again.
Oh, Lord, yeah. I can imagine. That's something I haven't had to think about for many a year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never anything that isn't serious. It really isn't.
And it's a real pain in the butt too, you know?
Well, yeah.
And so I totally sympathize with Laura, what she's going through with the bronchitis and the coughing and that. And she actually even told me earlier tonight that she said she can't wait to go to bed tonight and have some of the cough medicine that she got with her meds, so that she could at least maybe possibly sleep one whole night without waking up every who knows how long coughing.
This is true.
So I'm hoping I texted her good night a little while ago, and I'm hoping that she is getting juiced up on the cough medicine.
Hey, if we're lucky, yeah, should be, but things can always go well any number of different ways. But we always we always hope for the best.
But
well, that's not going to work.
So I'm trying to think. I know the last time I talked to you, you said you were on your days off. Is tomorrow the day you go back to work, or have you already done that?
Today was my last day shift for this week, and I go back on night shift Tuesday night next week.
Oh, so, okay.
I have tomorrow and the entire weekend off. So then I have to stay awake all night Monday night and sleep all day Tuesday, and then get up in time to be at work by 6:30 p.m. Tuesday evening.
Ooh,
So I'll be
okay.
working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week. So I will be out. I will not be available for Stupid O'Clock, Last Man Standing, or the Green Room next week.
You'll be MIA.
Yep, and I hate that. I'll also miss Drinking with the Davies. I'll also miss Truth Mongers. I'll also miss you know everything that I am used to watching. I won't be able to see um, Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. I got to watch stuff in reruns on the
That's the only
repeat.
way I can do it.
Yeah, well, that's the only way I was able to do it this week because things were actually going on while I was still at work.
Mm.
So I
The only
tried.
shows I was ever able to watch live, besides these shows, was Brian's shows in the mornings. And now with all the eBay stuff going on the last couple of weeks, it's about darn near impossible to do that because I'm spending almost every waking hour doing this and
Hmm.
a lot of cleaning on
Yep.
things.
And let's see. Once I finish night shift next week, uh, I will have to start packing for Hallowcon, and I'll
Mhm.
go in uh, the week after that, and I will work one day, and then I am on vacation so that I can drive to Dalton, Georgia for Hallowcon on Thursday and be at the convention all weekend, and I'll have a couple of days off after the convention is over, and then go back in on day shift again. That's the horrible thing about rotating shifts is it never freaking ends. You get 4 days you've got to work, 4 days you've got off, 4 nights you've got to work, 4 days you get off, and so you got to sleep sometime. So
Plastics plant I used to work at, I used to be on the dreaded 7 day swings.
oh,
And I never got used to it.
we had that when I first started at the fiberglass factory,
Mm.
and it's like 7 days on day shift, but it was 8 hour shifts, and then have I think 2 days off, and then 7 days on um, 3 to 11, and have I think one day off, and then 7 days on graveyard, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., and then about 3.5 days off, and
Mhm.
start all over again. And the thing is, it was great for saving money because you had no energy to leave the house.
No,
You could not go out and buy stuff, and there weren't any online markets to buy things with at that time because online did not exist.
right.
So
Same here.
you earned a huge paycheck. You went home, you went to sleep, you woke up the next day, and then you had to go right back into work, and you worked the entire week, and you went home, you went to sleep, and you had like half a day really awake, and then you had to go back into work, and your the one 4 day break that you got in between graveyard and back on first shift was the only time in an entire month that you actually had a couple of days you were awake in a normal schedule and could go out and do things and whatnot. And you're still dead dog tired. So
Yeah, when I got done working my 7 on the third shift and was going on our 3-day weekend, that Friday morning at 8 a.m. when we got off our last night of thirds, I stayed up to try to get back to the regular sleep schedule, and it was hell to do it, but I did it. And the weird thing about this place, this was Future X Plastics, which Future X, if there's anything that you might be familiar with them, is the Future X truck bed liners that you could get for your trucks. But we did tons of other things, cattle feeders. The work that I did was a lot of government jobs for the post office. I did work for Meade. We made the little school book folders and binders and that. And they had these 7-day swing shifts, I guess, for 10 or 11 years, 5 of which I worked, almost 6 years. The year after I left, then they decided, oh, we're not going to do 7-day swings anymore. We're going to do the 4 on, 4 off.
Yep. When we were doing the 7-day swings, the most comfortable one for me was 3 in the afternoon till 11 o'clock at night. So I'd get off from work at 11 o'clock at night, go home, stay up till about 3 in the morning. And I mean, you're getting off from work, almost nothing is open except a Waffle House, and some grocery stores were 24/7. And I would, about 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd go to bed, wake up around noon, maybe 1 o'clock, get ready to go back to work at 3 in the afternoon. And that felt really comfortable. It did.
I bet.
Now, graveyard shift, 11 to 7, did not feel anywhere near as good. And I hate getting up with an alarm clock. So first shift is always one of those things that I just never, I'm still not used to it to this day. Now that I'm back on the 4-day on, 4-day off, 12-hour shifts, day shifts, off days, night shift, off days. I've got an alarm set up on my cell phone for 6 a.m. 7 days a week. So whichever time I turn it on, it works for me to get up. And any days that I have off, I turn the darn thing off as soon as my last shift is over. So when I'm on night shift, I don't need an alarm, basically. I just need to make sure that I go to bed at a reasonable hour in the morning and get up at a reasonable hour in the late afternoon and have a couple of cups of coffee and get up, get dressed, and drive on in. That's easy for me. That's easy for me. As far as the sleep schedule goes, but getting anything done, that's difficult because you're always tired. You are always tired.
Well, when I left Future X Plastics, I went, well, I was moving back from Indiana to Illinois. My mom, who's diabetic, got really sick, and my brother wanted me to come back and take care of her, so did that. And started working at Lowe's Home Improvement, where I would work for about the next 15 years.
Yeah.
And I got, well, they were specialists, but Lowe's called them Lowe's Pros. And they had a Lowe's Pro or specialist for every department in the store. And I was the garden center. specialist. And anyway, so we had the cushy Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. with our evenings and weekends off. And the reason for this was that the Lowe's pros would be there at the stores in their respected departments when all the contractors would come in the mornings or even coming back in the afternoons early on, getting things, and they wanted to talk to somebody that knew what they were talking about and not a snot-nosed 17-year-old kid or something, you know.
This is true.
Yeah, so it was a good, theoretically it was a good idea, and for the most part it worked pretty fluently. Well, I may have told this story before, but when the man who instituted the Lowe's Pros program had retired from the company, the bigwigs at Lowe's in their infinite wisdom decided, oh, we don't need this program anymore. And they basically put us all back on fluctuating schedules.
Yeah.
Which that made a lot of people, now I can only talk about our store over in Danville, but made a lot of people leave. We had a lot of retired GM workers that came in there and working in departments that they were very familiar with from working in GM and some other places, similar situation. These people didn't have to work. They had good pensions, but they wanted something a little on the side, basically something to do more than anything else.
Yeah.
So when they were told that they're going to go on a fluctuating schedule and they might have to work some weekends, a couple, 2-3 times a month, they said, see ya. And they were gone. And
yeah, it's amazing the way that happens, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And it hurt the store. The contractors were coming in there and they were complaining left and right about it. And I told them, I said, I was against the ending of the program myself. And I just wrote out the number to the corporate office and gave it to them and said, here, call this number and lodge a complaint. And maybe they'll bring the program back, which of course they never did.
Well, these things, they happen.
Yeah.
You got to pretty much go with the flow, no matter what. And
well, they tried to fix something that wasn't broken, and they didn't realize how much damage they ended up doing in the long run because of it. And so, but you live and learn, and really no other store of their ilk like Home Depot or Menards, any other place like that, had any similar programs. Yes, they all had department managers and assistant managers in each department, but the Lowe's Pros were the ones to cover so that, would take a little weight off of the department managers and that. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, hey, Chris. Oh, and let me see if I can make this work. There you go. Now, this is the cover I did for the book I just submitted to the publisher yesterday or day before, whenever it was.
Very cool.
Well, I did all the artwork, so it's That was a labor of love, and the actual program that I used to do the artwork no longer exists.
Huh?
It was bought up by Corel Draw, and you have to buy the huge Corel thing, which is even more expensive than Photoshop, in order to get to use this thing, which is a teeny tiny part of the Corel program. So, and I was never able to have that kind of money, and I had gotten this art program for free with a scanner, a huge flatbed scanner that I bought back in the early '90s, and well, no, it would have been the mid '90s actually. Um, so about 98 or 99, no, yeah, about 98 or so, I got this program. By 2004, I still had a computer that would run it, but it was beginning to suffer from not being updated for years and years and years. So the longer you kept adding layers to it, the bluer and greener the original layer became. So that's why the comet here is a blue green instead of stark gray, because there were a lot of layers in there, and as I said, the more layers I added, the bluer it got. But I finally had to pretty much call it quits once I got the darn thing done. But this one is under consideration. So
Okay.
it's
Well, looks real good for a program that you've had for all that time.
well, it was only about 8 years old by the time that I actually did that particular piece. But now I can't even. I've got the original floppy disks to install it, and it will not install on any computer that I've got. So it just I couldn't use it now if I could actually make it work. You've got to buy it in a huge Corel Draw package, and it's only a teeny tiny fraction of that package. And it was one of the best art programs I had. Not only could you do colors with it, but you could actually do the masking to copy and paste things into a collage. It didn't matter how convoluted, how crazy the mask that you had to draw. You could always blow the image up huge and do a little bit of the mask at a time, and it would work. I miss that. Nowadays, you've got some kind of a thing where you just wave a magic wand and it tries to find the edges, but it never finds all the edges that you want. There's one mask tool in Photoshop that I found that came fairly close, but if you were one pixel off of where you really wanted it to be, and you went ahead and clicked on it to create the entire mask, you'd wind up with all kinds of weird computer guessing lines in there for where the mask was being applied, as opposed to where you actually wanted it. So, yeah, you try and get something like a waterfall, and you might get the two edges of the waterfall. But when you're trying to get the pool of water at the bottom where you have all the foam and everything, it might have a stripe going right up the middle that you didn't draw, but the computer said, "Oh, well, we see this pixel up here that we're really interested in, so we're gonna run the mask that way." And you go, "Oh, Undo. Let me try this again.
Well, I was working a little bit earlier tonight on a little picture for advertisement for the green room tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Carl always wants everybody to create their own little funny things and memes and stuff put on there instead of just sharing a link to this or that or what have you, and putting that in the secret humor group. So I used to do it a lot, and quite frankly, I've been so busy with everything else, I don't really get a chance to do very much. But I saw a photograph that dearly loved, and I thought, this is for the secret humor group.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll do a green room advertising for it. Well, I always have a little picture of Carl's head that I use whenever I do a little advertising meme or something or whatever. Yeah. I have Carl down there somewhere saying something about everything. And initially, the photograph that I screenshotted to get that picture of his head, which he wasn't wearing a fez in there. He was actually wearing a beret at the time. But the expression on his face was the reason why I wanted to use it. So I used PixArt to do most of my little magic for those type of silly things. And that a thing in there capture the face or the head or whatever, and you can let the computer try to do it. Inevitably, they always screw it up. I can count on one hand how many times that I've had something actually turn out right through PixArt with that particular option, that little tool.
And it makes you wonder when they were doing all the copy and paste stuff for all the spaceships in the original Star Wars. Mm-hmm. What were they using to draw the mask around the ships that they were able to get them decent enough to where, unless it was on a 40-foot wide screen, it looked like it was pretty well done. I'm going to have to take a little break with this right now. So let me see if I have another. Oh, okay. A little intermission. And I sent Chris an invite to the room. I don't know if he's.
Oh, okay. I was just about to, so I'm glad you said that.
Yep, I just sent him the link, and if he's got time, would be glad to have him. Can't say you can't go drink a beer all day and keep it to yourself, because most of my day was spent drinking either coffee or water. So I am definitely well hydrated, people. So
you never rent beer, or you never buy beer, you rent it.
Yep, you just rent it and hope there's a good recycling system. I shall return, and we shall return. Oh, somebody made a comment. Let me see here.
Chris said, give me about 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Well, I'll be back by then.
Yeah. Boy, I'll be vamping if he doesn't. I don't know what about.
Well, I don't remember if I actually used that in my 9th album or not, but if I didn't, it's going on the 10th album, the little piece of music there. It's amazing what little meditational music that I've been able to create here in the last few years. That's pretty much what the entire 9th album was is either to put you to sleep and keep you asleep, or to sit there and meditate, depending on your mood and the time of day you put it on. It usually knocks me out, and the original working title of the album was "This Gonna Put You to Sleep."
Well, that one you just played probably wouldn't put me to sleep because of one thing, of the running water that you had throughout the whole thing.
Yep.
It would make me want to get up and go take a intermission break.
Yeah, well, that was the joke. Yeah.
That I did.
Go, you will.
Oh yeah. Sit there listening to that. I'm like, what am I hearing? Did Dan leave his mic on? Man, he did have to go. No, there's a you talk about your meditational music. There is a CD. Actually, when I first bought it on a cassette tape, so that tells you how long I've had this. But until the cassette tape kind of destroyed itself just from playing it too much. I'm trying to think of the the name of the company was called North Sound Music. Mm-hmm. And what they were famous for was putting out these little, just for argument's sake, I'll just say CDs, but they did cassettes and who knows, for the last 25, 30 years, of meditation type music that would include nature sounds in it, different animals and crickets and sometimes lightning and rain, you know, a little babbling brook or whatever. I had one, I had several different ones that I really liked. There was one called the acoustic guitar that had a bunch of different nature sounds in it that was really nice. But the one that always made me very tranquil and I could fall asleep pretty easily, it was called Northern Night Songs by the North Sound Music Group. And I'm trying to think of the guy's name who plays the acoustic guitar on there, and I would know it if I heard it. But anyway, it was an acoustic guitar with very soft, light keyboards in the background. And they were nature sounds, animal sounds of what you would hear after dark in the summertime. And absolutely wonderful. The whole CD is probably 50 minutes long, and if that. But probably before it got to like the third or fourth track, then I was out like a light. And no, that's not the name, Chris.
Close but no cigar.
Close but no cigar. And I may just have to go ahead and Google it because I know it's going to cause me problems if I don't.
Bill isn't here, so we got to do everything ourselves.
Yeah, we need John in here to Google.
Oh. Too much work, too little sleep. I've been getting by on about 5 4 or 5 hours sleep every night this week. So that with a 12-hour workday is not a good combination. Come on, get it together, Daniel.
And that's the actual album right there. I just found it, and I guess it's available on Amazon.
All right.
For $14.48. Now I'm trying to see. They have it ranked in New Age meditation music, which that would probably be about right. Trying to find the guy's name who did it. Let's see. Northern Night Songs, a tribute to nature of dusk to dawn, relaxing instrumental music with guitar, keyboard mixed with bird whistle, cricket, frog, geese, blah, blah, blah. So,
basically, yeah. With no list of the musicians.
No, and
Well,
I'm probably not looking at.
That's a bummer.
Well, we're talking Amazon here, and they're only going to give you whatever absolute information they need to give you. They give you more information about their shipping and all that because it's all about them. But
this is true. True. I've got a friend over in Lord. I can't remember. It's Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands, somewhere up in there. His name is Bjorn Lynn, BJORN LYNNE, I do believe, and he is almost solely responsible for me having to have a period in my life when I was reviewing music CDs and books, because he sent me something. It was called The Void, and it was very, very spacey sort of thing, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. The first time I heard it, I popped it in my 5-disc CD changer, and it stayed there for about 10 years. And my opinion of it was that this is the equal to Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, wow.
But it's almost entirely instrumental, and it is one guy doing all of it. And it was just mind-boggling how good the man is. And he does all kinds of different things. At one time, he was doing music for video games, and he did musical interpretations of people's novels, like a soundtrack to the novel. So you actually had something you could listen to while you were reading this other guy's book, that sort of thing. And then he semi-retired for a while, and now he's back doing music again, and still semi-retired. So it's not like he's got any record company holding him over a fire, going, "Hey, we need your next album." He does stuff when it comes to him, as it comes to him, and releases it on his own schedule. And it's just, that's the way it ought to be for a musician of his caliber. Is I work on what I want to work on. When I think it's through, I will release it myself. Nobody else gets a cut but me and whoever presses the CDs or hosts the download site. So this is how I want it to be, and this is how it's going to be. So that's the perfect arrangement for a musician, is to have total creative control and almost total marketing control. And you can advertise as much or as little as you actually feel like. once you have the fan base from years ago, anytime you put something out and tell your fans you put something out, you're going to get sales. Bill Nelson of Bebop Deluxe is doing that now. He's got, I think he works with Cherry Red Records, and there's another company whose name I can't remember that he's been working with, but he's still doing these beautiful, evocative compositions and singing, and it's fantastic stuff. It is absolutely fantastic stuff. I would highly recommend anybody who is interested in music that isn't tied to a specific genre, kind of independent. This is what I do. Nobody can really tie it down to one style or another, because I do lots of things, or he does lots of things, and it becomes a mix, a match, a blend of different things. And that's the kind of thing that musicians live for, is that kind of creative control, to be able to do whatever they want and put in as much effort as they are willing to market it, and the fans.
Well, sadly, you got to have the money to do it, and you don't, then you're under the glove of somebody else who will want you to do it their way.
Oh, actually, no. I've got absolutely no money at all, and that's what I'm doing, using Bandcamp for my music.
Yeah, but I mean the ones who do it to get out there, to put it out on certain record labels and such. By the way, before I lose this, Chris, I found the name of the man who plays acoustic guitar and the keyboards, Chuck Lang, Lange, and somebody had one of these CDs that they put on eBay, so they had a picture of the front of the CD and a picture of the back, so I was able to get everything on the back of the CD, which it was produced by Keith G. Griswold, 1994, with original compositions by Chuck Lang and Brad DePassy. So, and Chuck Lang is, like I said, plays the acoustic guitar and the keyboards on the Northern Night Songs CD. But yeah, I knew it was pretty close to 30 years. So within a couple of years, it will be 30 years old.
Well, I just did a Google search, and let me see if this actually has any.
And he's done other things too. And he's done other stuff with North Sound Music, and then I've seen some other things pop up of his from somewhere else. I'm not sure exactly where, but.
Well, in 2000, he did something called The River, and then Soothing Rhythms, Nature's Lullabies, Latin Rendezvous, And I Loved Her, Smooth Latin Jazz. And then it went all to ads, and I can't scroll past the ads. It just
of course.
vanished into that. But let's see.
But yeah, it's really, and I have a little boom box sitting on my bedside table, and I would not be surprised if that CD is sitting ready to be played in the boombox CD player, because they're there would be some nights where mind is running on overload and just cannot get to sleep for nothing. Especially when worried about things.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Don't want to. Oh, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Well, I'll just have to do it the other way.
That's the way you should have done it to begin with.
Well, could be, yeah. Except it's gonna do it all over creation here. So there we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, StreamYard has a way if you're controlling a channel and you actually comment in the comments, it puts you out as every name of every channel that you are broadcasting to. So anyway, that's the link. It's a web page of basically 13 albums of his work, and they do ask you for permission to add cookies to your browser, but Whispers in the Mist, The River, Northern Light, Northern Night Sounds, Echoes of Glacier, Echoes of Olympic National Park, Storm Swept, Ocean Music, Thunder Magic, Silver Cascades, Jazz Wolf, Natural Guitar, and Sound on Sound.
Natural Guitar is another one of his that I used to have, and that was on the North Sound label, the same as the Northern Night songs.
Yep, about half of these are North Sound albums.
Yes.
And there's other stuff. Nature Quest is one company that put out an album. Global Journey put out another album. Nature Quest again. Cedar Lake Records is the one that put out Sound on Sound. So
yeah, he's pretty talented, and it's really funny because growing up, I had a friend when we were teenagers. We always kind of chuckled about some things that his mom would do. And every Saturday morning, his mom and his stepdad would go into town and to do the week's worth of laundry and grocery shopping. And she would always want to stop off at the library to pick up a book to read. Hey, Chris.
Hello.
And anyway, she would come back with these albums that she would rent from the library, check out the albums. And in the middle of winter, with like 4 or 5 inches of snow on the ground, we go into my friend's house, and there she is in the kitchen cooking with my friend's little phonograph record player that he had, playing this album of bird calls, just different bird sounds and that. And we're like, if you look out the window, it's mid-January. But if you close your eyes, it's mid-June, according to what she's playing. And we kind of made fun of the whole thing and not realizing, hey, she was ahead of the game on this. Hey. Something that probably took her mind off of their cabin fever and whatever any other
Definitely.
troubles she might have had, and something nice and tranquil to listen to.
Yeah, I've got a few things where nature sounds begin and end the piece, but in the middle it ain't natural. One of the better ones is one of the tracks off of the album I did for Stephanie Osborne for her first Displaced Detective books, and it's called Unlimited Sky, and it starts off with bird call, and then it kind of drifts into keyboard going on, and then it gets really intense for a while, and it kind of fades back down to something more meditative, and then it winds up with the bird call again. And that was one of the first things that I did with that sort of intent. And then with the ninth album, there were the thunderstorms and surf sounds and things like that were played right along and mixed in with the music itself. So depending on what it was, what the feel that I was going for, how strong the nature sounds were. There's all kinds of things you can do with sound effects. There was one piece I did it's basically a motorcycle running down the highway, passing cars and whatnot. And finally, as a wreck and an ambulance shows up, you got all these sound effects in with the music itself, which is supposed to kind of make you feel like maybe I shouldn't push my gas pedal all the way to the floor, but damn it, I'm going to do it.
Well, that Facebook story that I did a couple days ago, advertising all the Hot Wheels and Johnny Lightnings, I used the Beach Boys 409 advertising, and they do the sound effects of revving up the engines and everything in that. I mean, it works.
Queen's "I'm in Love with My Car," car revving sounds in there at the beginning and end. And
well, I'll tell you a couple other Queen songs that are hard to resist pushing the pedal down, and one of them's "One Vision," which was from the Iron Eagle soundtrack. And then do you remember the song "Headlong"?
Yeah,
that's another one that's kind of hard to resist not pushing the pedal down.
I found that with the stuff I was doing, the setting the beats per minute at a certain rate got your heart pumping, no matter what the music sounded like. As long as that drum beat was going on that fast, you wanted to push it. Yeah. So I put a disclaimer on 2 or 3 albums going, I'm not responsible for any speeding tickets you had while listening to my stuff going down the highway.
I wonder if Golden Earring ever had to do that with Radar Love, because that would be a song I would think that would get more people in trouble with speeding.
Actually, Lindsay got a little bit upset with me because before we had ever met each other in person, she was 2,000 miles away in New Mexico, and we were having a long distance telephone romance for several months, and we had known each other for 10 years, but when we started calling each other, it was the first time that we were both single at the same time. So we got to know each other over the phone, and she was going through some bad times, and I asked her if I needed to drive out there and rescue her, and she said, let me think about that. And a couple of days later, she phoned back and said, yeah, I need to be rescued. And we made plans, and we listened to all kinds of special music together on the radio. We did a lot of our either on the telephone or by IRC chat, which is how we first got to know each other.
And you'd already known her, and then you got to hear that voice. You were done for.
Well, it's more like she got to hear my voice, and she was done for.
Whatever works.
Hey, she got on a Greyhound bus, and she rode for 3 days to get from Socorro, New Mexico, to Athens, Georgia.
Wow.
And we had never seen each other. We'd seen a couple of photographs of each other, but that's about it. You know, stuff that we had online in membership lists for different websites. We didn't send each other pictures.
Yeah.
We were too.
Now wait a minute. You said you went and rescued her, but then you just said she rode 3 days on a Greyhound bus to get to Athens.
I asked
You had to
her
have a destination.
I asked her if she needed me to come rescue her, and naturally, like any princess worth her salt, she said, "I think I'll rescue myself. Have you you meet me here at this bus station, and we'll take it from there." So she shipped off a bunch of stuff that she owned, a lot of her clothes and books and things to our UPS. She would not let me come out there and get all of her stuff. She thought I was poor for some reason. And well, she still hates it when I spend money on her, but she doesn't mind if I spend money on me. So basically nowadays I spend money on us and tell her it's for me. Anyway, you
did get a good one.
She's getting off this Greyhound bus, and I've only seen a picture of her that's like 10 years old. And she stands up and starts walking towards the door of the bus, and I know it's her. And I'm standing there. I'm going, I hope this works. And I'm getting more and more enthusiastic, and I straighten my back up, and I quit trying to look like a little guy, and I'm standing up as straight as I can stand, and I keep getting taller, and I keep getting taller, and I keep getting taller. She gets off the bus and go, you know, your feet aren't touching the ground. I forgot. Sometimes the laws of physics just kind of ignore me.
Your audio went down.
Oh, well, I thumped the
There you go. I think you hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may still be on automatic. I hope not. But
No, I think you just hit it.
Nope.
I do that with my Yeti tumbler. I forget I have it on here.
I've had the actual that day written up in several different places, several different memories, and she goes, "You kind of this is a little bit too TMI now." And well, now that we've been together for 16 years, I gave her every opportunity to walk away if she didn't think it was going to work. I told her I'd help her get a job, I'd help her get a place to live, and she'd never have to put up with me again if she couldn't stand me. And 16 years, she's still in the other room. We're still together. We're still holding hands when we sleep at night. Best damn thing that ever happened to me.
Yep.
Well, I'm happy you found your counterpart.
Well, I had a lot of practice. It just didn't work before because it wasn't her.
Well, yeah. Yeah, we're not even going to go to my luck with females. So,
well, all I can say is, and I can say this to you too, Chris, that sometimes God just puts a few stumbling blocks in front of us just to, he's training us up.
Yeah.
For when the real one comes along, and then, you know, you'll be ready then. Just like Dan was.
Mm-hmm. Iron is forged in a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Steel comes from a hotter fire.
Right now, I just settle for a decent one, much less the right one. That's just how bad it's been. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah.
And that's before COVID ever came raining down and on everybody's parade.
Chris, don't tell me you're still looking for Miss Right, but you'll settle for Miss Right now.
I'm kind of looking for somewhere in between. You know, the happy medium that seems to be missing from everyone's life.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. He's not looking for Miss Right, but he's looking for somewhere in between. So is that Miss Middle?
I don't know, but he's driving Miss Daisy crazy.
You know, y'all were talking about the music earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking, man, I need to tell them about some music sites that you may already know of them, but there is a website called and music company called Collector's Choice Music.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of older and rare to find albums. There's a video component called Critics' Choice Video, and they're tied in together.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a place called CD Universe, which they have music, movies, and games. And I didn't know if y'all were aware of them or not, but I figured I would at least mention them to you.
Hey.
You might find some stuff that you've been looking for that you can't find in other places.
Hey, throw those in the comments. I mean, people deserve to know. We can post them here, and I'm fairly sure it'll show up on replay in one of the things that it's replayable on. No, music has been a big part of my life from my earliest age till
it's
now.
got me through a lot of stuff.
Yep. Not only that, but it's been background for a lot of stuff that happened. A lot of history. And there are bits and pieces there are certain songs that are tied to certain very memorable memories, and there are other things that are just fun.
Yep. It kind of puts me in the mind of that old Bill Cosby sketch. And I think it was off of the album Why Is There Air? He was talking about when he was kids with his brother Russell and Albert and Weird Harold and all them. Mm-hmm. They said, when we went running around, when it got dark, everybody, you had to go home because that's when all the monsters came out. Mm-hmm. And he talked about the one night where he was at a movie theater or somewhere, and when the movie was finally over and he got out, it was dark out, and he still had to walk home, and he was all by himself. And he says, but I was okay as long as I have my music. And he goes, everybody has their music. The Lone Ranger has his music, and he was talking about having his music and hear the na 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 na. And he says, as long as I kept having my music going, he says, I'd keep the monsters away.
Yeah, it does work like that. It really does work like that. And sometimes the music isn't out there on the air, on the radio, on a CD. It's in your head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's the most important music, is what's in your head.
Well,
because you get to pick and choose.
Yeah. You can play exactly what you want, and depending on the situation you're in, what you need to hear to deal with it best you can, and your mind can pick it out for you.
I haven't decided whether or not life actually needs a soundtrack or if it would be frightening if life had a soundtrack. Because imagine all the bad times in your life if you heard bad guys sneaking up behind you music.
Yeah.
You'd have a warning, but would you still be able to do anything about it? Or would you just, do the sensible thing and start running and never look back?
Well, just think if it would be like those old radio serials where you had the suspenseful music playing and, get on a cliffhanger. You don't know what's going to happen next. And then you have to wait to.
Yeah, you got to wait till next week.
Yeah. Yeah, wait till next week or till the commercials over with comes back for it. That would suck. It's like, what the heck's going to happen?
Yeah, about
I think the most
of my life would be the theme from Jaws, the shark theme from Jaws, because shit's always sneaking up on me.
And you think about that for just a moment. It was bad enough that after the first movie came out in 75 that nobody wanted to go into the water anymore because they're afraid of sharks. But just to hear that theme song whenever he was about to get up and grab somebody, and that's enough to keep you out of the water, even if you thought about going in. But
and nowadays you got freshwater lakes you can't get near because of brain-eating bacteria or amoebas or some shit.
Yeah.
But you talk about music in your head. Okay, so both of you know what earworms are, right?
Oh, Lord,
when somebody say got an earworm. I was saying that to Laura a couple of weeks ago. I said, well, I got this dang earworm in my head, and I don't know, maybe I'm just going to have to play the song and see if that'll get it out. And she goes, what? And she had never, from Chicago, she never heard of what definition of earworm. She goes, that is the first time in my life I've ever heard that. Of course, I had to poke fun at her a little bit from it, but.
Well, the only way you can actually describe it to somebody is, did you ever get a song or maybe just a couple of bits of the lyrics of a song stuck in your head over and over and over again like a stuck record? And then you have to explain what a record is and how it could get stuck. And then,
I often wondered what a medical definition of that would be. For why you do continuously hear a song in your head every once in a while, and how difficult it is to stop hearing it.
Well, some people would call it an auditory hallucination.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
And some people would call it a fragment of a memory.
Yeah.
Which is even a more descriptive term for what it actually is, because you're remembering something, but it's not fully developed like a photograph or a videotape or a song on the radio. You just have that little piece of it stuck over and over and over and over and over and over. And the best cure for it is to actually break down and go to YouTube and pull up the video and play it, or if you have the record albums, if you have the tapes, if you have the CDs or the MP3s or whatever it is, pull it up and actually play it, and that will kind of disarm it, but it leaves you wide open for the next one.
Oh yeah, I constantly have songs pop into my head just out of the blue. It's like the other day I had Glenn Frey's "Smuggler's Blues" pop into my head.
Sometimes I know the reasons why I have earworms, because like today I drove over to Urbana to go to the Walmart and Meijer, look for a couple things that I couldn't find over in Danville. And I am always, I hate grocery shopping. I hate shopping in general, really, but I'd rather be doing anything else.
A lot of
But
folks cannot stand shopping.
Yeah.
yeah, and so when I hear Carl talking about his Sunday morning subversive grocery shopping, and that I kind of laugh and I'll poke at him a little bit, but I really know what it's all about. So what I typically will do is I'll take my earbuds and plug them into my smartphone, and then get on YouTube and start listening to usually an album or something. And I did that today. I listened to Wings at the Speed of Sound, and started, hearing Silly Love Songs and Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey, and all those songs. And
I remember every note just from you mentioning the names.
oh yeah, Time to Hide was a good Denny Lane one that he did originally, I think, with the Moody Blues, but he did a updated version on that album. And then Beware My Love, which was a personal favorite of mine off of that album. But I'll listen to those songs, and this actually it happened with that very same album, come to think of it, probably a couple months ago. There's a song on there that the drummer Joe English sings called Must Do Something About It. And it's basically talking about his loneliness and depression and how he's by himself. And so talking about, I just watched another sunset on my own, all alone. I'm feeling alone and I must do something about it, which it's a very good song. And my favorite of his, singing lead on any of them during his time with Wings. But I got that song stuck into my head like nobody's business. And I thought, okay, I'm going to listen to the darn thing, try to get it out, and it would not come out even then. And I went to bed that night hearing that stupid song into my head. And the only thing that I could do just to try to cover it up was I played another YouTube video of Steve King and Johnny Putman on WGN radio. They were talking about different things, and it ran about 3 hours long. So I'm like, I'm going to put this sucker on, put it on low to where I could just barely hear it, but hopefully that it'll kind of interrupt my earworm of the Joe English song. And it took about a good 45 minutes, but it did actually work.
What I hate is when a song that you don't care for pops into your head and you can't get it out right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is annoying as all get out.
Yeah. I'll tell you one that used to happen to me when I was a kid. Riding a school bus to elementary school in Clinton, Tennessee. Every day at the same spot in the bus route, I would start hearing Secret Agent Man. And it would play in my head over and over again till we got off the bus and got into school, and other stuff was going on where I could get distracted. But it was the same time of day, same spot on the bus route, same song over and over again. The only thing I could figure is that one particular part of the bus route had something that reminded me of the opening to The Prisoner or to Secret Agent Man, the TV show. And it just, without even knowing what it was, it would trigger the memory of the music going in my head.
Subconscious.
Yeah. And your brain will play all kinds of weird tricks on you. It is not tame.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care how sane you are. Your brain is crazy.
Yeah.
It will torture you for no
Um,
reason whatsoever.
he
Uh,
mentioned Bill mentioned Wings moment ago.
mhm.
Uh, it's been a couple months ago, but I had there was one day I had Band on the Run stuck in my head with the long
Mhm.
intro that
Mhm.
they don't always play, and I was going through most of the song and it just kept playing over and over in my head. Of course, that one I don't mind. It's when I get some, like I said, it's when I get something that annoys me that I don't care for stuck in my head, and
Mhm.
I'm trying to find something else that maybe is less annoying that's catchy that I can replace it with.
Yep.
Now, I think of a good song that could be an earworm as far as just continuously playing over and over and over. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned Band on the Run,
Mm-hmm.
the B side of the single 1989. That opening, if you know the song,
Yep.
it's the
I can hear it in my head
repetitive,
right now. Yeah.
yeah, the piano opening,
Mm-hmm.
and it I could just, before Paul even starts singing, just to hear that same, and he's very repetitive about that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I've had a lot of songs that will trigger a memory
Mm-hmm.
of hearing the song, maybe not for the first time, but something maybe happening that was a high point or a low point in my life, and then that song was playing. And so that whenever I'd hear that song, it would trigger that certain memory. But I also have memories like that triggered of hearing actual talking
Mm-hmm.
from. I'm trying to think of a good example. Um, Certain lines from a TV show or something from a particular episode of
Mhm.
All in the Family or Happy Days or Mork and Mindy or whatever, and whatever it is, you might have just thought of something, or you were intense
Mm-hmm.
on some moment in your life, and then that was in the background. So your brain kind of cataloged it and stored it in the depths of your memory.
Oh yeah.
And then every other time when you were watching that particular episode and that thing pops up to that part of the episode where they say whatever lines it is, then the memory is triggered once again.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I'll associate certain songs and certain bands with family members. My dad especially, and my aunt. Um, she's a huge Rolling Stones fan, and when they came out with "Start Me Up," that was her song.
Yep. I got a friend like that, but his band is Led Zeppelin.
That's Laura's.
So you know,
Yeah.
every Led Zeppelin song means something different to him according to the significance of the memory that he
Hmm.
associates with it. And uh, be, because he was a roommate of mine for several
Hmm.
years, I got intimately acquainted to
Yeah.
not only with the music itself, but to the cause of his association to that
Yeah.
particular song. So, and it's I'm getting his earworms, you know.
Yeah.
It's, I didn't know I don't even have these triggers, but I've got his earworms. So,
Hmm.
and that's when you have been such good friends with somebody
Hmm.
that their memories trigger things in you.
Hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, he was going through a bad time with that girl right there, and oh, that was when he bought that
car that he loves so much, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, just all that stuff. And it's not even a thing you personally experience. You vicariously experience through somebody else, uh, relating, somebody you had a connection with relating this stuff to you.
Well, it's funny. Um, I'm a huge Bob Seger fan.
Hmm.
My dad, my uncle, and my aunt, all of them, they all went to see him in concert. I don't know about dad, but
And that brings up another friend with
yeah,
way up firm and high. Yeah, his first date. Um, Lord,
not moves.
yeah, I wasn't even there,
Mm-hmm.
but I know exactly what happened. So,
Well, the funny thing is, one of the bands I associate with my uncle, primarily him and his family, was REO Speedwagon.
mhm.
And
which are out of Champaign, Urbana, Illinois,
Mhm.
just over here by me.
Yeah, I knew you'd get a kick out of that, Bill, because I knew they were from that area.
Well, if on the very first album, self-titled album,
Mm-hmm.
on the back cover of it, it shows all the members of REO Speedwagon sitting at a bar at a little place. Sadly, it does not exist anymore, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to say that I went in there when it still did. But it was a confectionery called
Mm-hmm.
Reiner's,
Mm-hmm.
and it had been around for like 80 years
Yeah.
over by the Amtrak station there in
Yeah.
Urbana. And they took that photograph at Reiner's at the bar at the front of the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, Reiner's had that record album
Mm-hmm.
in a frame up on the wall, of course, with the back facing instead of the
Mm-hmm.
front. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. Um, there are a lot of Alice Cooper songs that I associate with
Mm-hmm.
particular memories,
Yeah.
especially his more uh, slow-paced romantic sort of songs, which a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't associate with Alice Cooper because they see
Mm.
all the shock rock stuff and they don't realize the man's a damn good poet as well as being able to deliver a line on stage and just has an amazing sense of humor at the same time.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned him and his softer stuff. I remember you and me on the Muppet Show.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
All the
yeah.
creepy looking puppets, just kind of staring at him with adoration, kind of love. And I'm just like, okay. But I love the song. The music was, I mean, it's a beautiful ballad.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's got several like that. He's
Yeah,
and
Only Women Bleed
Yep.
was
yep,
one that I
yep.
think, and you know what I associate that song with, even though it come out a couple years later,
Mm-hmm.
and I wonder if he was influenced any at all. Now I can't say the full title of the song,
Mm-hmm.
but the John and Yoko song, "Woman is the
Yep.
N word of the world,"
Mm-hmm.
and both that song that John and Yoko did and Only Women Bleed that Alice Cooper did
Mm-hmm.
talked about the plight of females in
Mhm.
late 60s, early 70s, and how they were not being
Oh,
treated fairly in the workforce and
went on
relationships
back.
and elsewhere.
It went on back 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s.
Oh, yeah.
It went way back. Well, some of it is primeval, going back to caveman days,
Mm.
really.
Did you hear the story behind Blackbird by the Beatles?
Yes, I did. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I had always loved the song even before I knew, and now I love it even more. Um,
Mhm.
And before I forget, Dan, I told you that Lita Ford did a cover of Only Women Bleed,
hmm
which is a pretty good cover, by the way. I found out who Alice Cooper's guitarist was. Her name is Nita Strauss.
Okay, good, because I got the two confused.
Yeah.
Well, they're both really good.
Oh, Nita's awesome. I mean, you know what? He's sort of like Michael Jackson, and he liked finding good female guitarists.
Well, I mean, back in the day, he had Bob Ezrin and oh Lord, now I've forgotten the guy's name. Having a senior moment now. Who were not female, but they were damn good guitarists.
Mm-hmm.
And they wound up producing Tim Curry's first 3 albums, I do believe.
Well, I knew Bob Ezrin more as a producer than I did a guitar player, but
yeah, well, I haven't the faintest idea anymore.
Was Kevin Ellison the other one?
Could have been.
I only know the name because I know he produced some Journey albums and songs. So,
and well, there are tons of things. There are tons. Every piece of music evokes a memory or an emotion or connection.
Well, it's kind of like the Bob Seger.
Excuse me.
You were talking about Night Moves by Bob Seger a little while ago. The part of the song where he says, start humming a song from 1962. Ain't it funny how the night moves? Well, I was born in 1962. So the song I probably liked the best that came out in that year was Neil Sedaka's Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, which was the original version. He did a slower, almost kind of a jazz lounge version back in the mid 70s, I think 75, 76.
But it was introduced on the best radio stations. It was introduced by the original 60s version.
Right.
Just briefly, and then he went into the slower.
Yeah, he made it sound like you were listening to it on a transistor radio, and then it kind of faded out, and then you had the opening piano notes and him singing that. So when Bob Seger says, started humming a song from 1962, ain't it funny that breaking up is hard to do? I always thought that's what it should have been, you know, and then he could have tied the year to the song. But no, I love both songs, and I had the 45 of the 70s one on there. And talking about a song where they do kind of a transistor radio sound effect of a song in there. I believe the Raspberries did a song called Hit Record, Overnight Sensation. And right in the middle, I think during the bridge of the song, because the whole song is about I don't care about money and fame and getting girls and all this. I just want a hit record. And that's the whole thing. The whole theme of the song is about him, you know, spending my bread and working all day long and all this other stuff to try to get things together to make this song and get this guy to listen to it and to get the guy to play the song. And during the bridge of the song, it kind of does a similar thing how Neil Sedaka did with the 70s version of Breaking Up the Hard to Do, where they the chorus of the song that says hit record, yeah, want a hit record, yeah. They do it with a small monotone scratchy sounding transistor radio. And then it starts fading into the stereo of it, and then it just jumps right back into the end of the song, which is back into full stereo and that. But they, it's almost when I hear that song, I can just see Eric Carmen right during the bridge pulling out a transistor radio and holding it up to the microphone, and you hear hit record, yeah, want to hit record, yeah, in the transistor radio thing. And then he's kind of pulling it away, and then everything is coming up back up to where it was before. And it's really quite brilliant. And that I know he was not the first person ever to do that. And I can't remember when Overnight Sensation came out. I know it came out as a single and that, but I want to say it was in the mid 70s at some time, but I can't remember. I'm a Raspberries fan, but not to that degree.
You do realize that is a Frank Zappa album title.
Oh, Overnight Sensation.
Mm-hmm.
Or a hit, yeah.
Overnight Sensation.
Well,
it's usually packaged with apostrophe, which is the one with Don't Eat the Yellow Snow and Nanook of the North and St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast. And oh Lord,
yeah.
I know too much. I know too much about Frank Zappa.
You were talking about hit record. As soon as you said that, I started chuckling because I was thinking about cover of the Rolling Stone by Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now who did? It might have been Dr. Hook, or it might have been Dr. John. Let's see, Don't Call Us, We'll Call You.
Oh,
I know like Dr. John, but
yeah. And then that broke into an AM radio sound when they played the little bit from that was supposed to sound like the Beatles. Where you go, yeah, it sounds like John, Paul, and George. And then it went back into the regular song there. But hey, we can talk about music for days on end, I tell you.
I saw a new video by the Scorpions that's got a new album coming out, and the song is just segments of them playing hit songs by other people.
Sugarloaf.
Pardon us when we cover that. Oh, green, yeah.
That's who did Don't Call Us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't Call You.
But Tainted Love was one of the songs, which is one of the last songs you expect Scorpions to be playing. I mean, it sounded all right, but it's
been covered a couple of times too.
Oh yeah, well,
and usually very well. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, my favorite song by Def Leppard is their song "Rocket," where they pay homage to all the glitter rock and glam rock groups.
Well, they were big fans of Slade.
Oh, yeah. Slade, Sweet. They make several references to them. T-Rex.
Mm-hmm. Well, the video's got several references to them in it. But I didn't get to listen to Slade so much. They were kind of doing their last gasp around 84, where they had... Run Away and My Oh My, and they were really good songs, but they kind of were doing the denim and more just hard working rocker image. They kind of dropped the glam stuff. Now I think they had some scenes in Run Away that they had showed like their glory days and dressed up in glam and all that stuff, but
might have. I remember the majority of that video being centered around a Scottish castle, and there was a whole bunch of people in there during that song. But yeah, I was always a big fan of Slade, and I'd say man, don't you love that song, Come On, Feel the Noise, or Mama, We're All Crazy Now? And they say, oh, yeah, Mama, We're All Crazy by the Runaways, or by, what was the other
Quiet
group?
Riot.
Quiet Riot. And I'm like, no, by Slade. Well, who are they? Well, they're the ones that originally did it. You know, Come On, Feel the Noise. Yeah, that was Slade. That was, and you didn't realize how many songs. And if you start listening to a lot of the album tracks, you realize, oh my God, Noddy Holder and all them, they were brilliant. And yeah, I loved them during the glam days. Now, Noddy was always dressing up in plaid. He was doing that before Bay City Rollers were, but I would try and think of the lead guitarist. He had long dark hair, but he always had the kind of bald spot in the front, and he was always dressing really glittery, and a couple of the other ones. But you know, the Sweet was very much the same way. They were very glam, and then it seemed like when their song that everybody else knew of somebody else doing, Action, came out, then it's like, oh, and I can't think of the 80s group who sang Action.
Well, I don't know about Action, but I do remember Ballroom Blitz and Crocus, who were a metal band out of the Netherlands, aka Holland, did a cover of their song.
Yeah. And of course, they had to replace Are You Ready, Steve? Andy, yeah, Mick, okay, all right, fellas, let's go. Well, they couldn't use Andy, Steve, and Mick, so they used the names of their members.
Yeah.
But no, Action, oh man. And it might have been Quiet Riot that did that, or maybe it was Motley Crue that did a cover of Action. But once again, it was Sweet that originally did it. And but by the time that song came out, they were kind of phasing out the glam, and even Steve Priest, who was the one who was the one that was different from the rest of them, we'll just say it that way, without saying the H word, but he even kind of went, and they went to Sweet went to a all kind of like leather look, or kind of more kind of tough rocker look. And so when you had them singing the songs Action or Fox on the Run or one of those songs, there was another one that I loved.
Probably capitalizing on the hard rock and heavy metal backs that were doing.
Oh yeah, well, very much so.
Because Quiet Riot was actually the first heavy metal song. Their cover of "Come On, Feel the Noise" was actually the first metal song to go to #1 on the charts.
Yeah, they well, and that's just the way it was. It was like everybody in the 80s was singing songs from the 70s. Or late 60s. You know, Bananarama was doing it, and there were tons of groups.
Well, they did.
That were singing.
They had their own song, "Cruel Summer," that was, I think, better than Venus. But you know.
Oh yeah. But a lot of people were doing it, and of course, in the 70s, I have to fully admit there were a lot of groups in the 70s singing 50s song. Everything was all about the 50s in the 1970s with American Graffiti and Happy Days and all that. But so
I mean, you do what stuff that you got influenced by either as a kid or a teenager, you know, and you know your parents are probably going to have a little bit of influence on that. You know, at least until you become a teenager, and then you start rebelling. You're like, I'm gonna find my own music, sound. What's interesting though is when the teenagers find something on their own that's stuff that you actually liked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of the teenagers these days are liking a lot of more retro things anyway. They're all, of course, playing vinyl.
Well,
It's hard to believe that vinyl outsold CDs this year, but it did happen. And
it's the nostalgia thing of it. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
it's the cool thing to do. It's what the hip kids are doing, and they want to be that.
I wind up watching a lot of music reaction videos on YouTube, and it's usually people that have never heard of some of these classic things that we grew up with, and they're just looking at this and they're going, "Why didn't anybody ever tell me about this before?" And I go, "Well, kind of because we thought Pink Floyd would always be there." Or Procol Harum, Conquistador, or Whiter Shade of Pale, or Creedence Clearwater, or whatever. And they're just discovering this stuff for the first time because they grew up with a totally different style of music on their radios, and they kind of was reaching for something that was not the stereotype that they grew up with, and all of a sudden they click with something that we grew up with, or even better, our parents grew up with. Now, you watch somebody that gets a reaction video to something with an orchestra or big bands, somebody doing Glenn Miller or Artie Shaw or the Dorsey brothers or whatever, and they're just going, I didn't know this kind of music existed. Hey, there's a reason that Bette Midler was able to get away with Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy back in the day, because it was even further back in the day when the Andrews sisters did it.
Yeah. Well, one of the funniest ones, there's a guy, he actually lives in Metro Atlanta. Okay. His name is Weibo, and I think his page is Weibo Reacts. And if you watch him listen to 10 Nugent's Stranglehold, you will laugh your butt off. Just to his reaction, because he's just kind of like, I mean, he's digging it and everything. It's just, and some of the stuff he says is just, man, it is so funny. I can't even go there.
Last night I watched a couple react to Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they thought it was this all nice, cool, mellow stuff. And then it got in the guitar solo, and it's like jaw drop. And they go, I want to hear more. I want to hear more. I'm going, yeah, well, should have been more in the 70s, kid. You'd have got to hear it the first time.
Have you ever looked up anything by No Life Shack?
Oh, I've got him. I'm subscribed. Yes.
Joe got me turned on to him. His review of Tennessee whiskey.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll tell you one that you ought to subscribe to. This his name is Jamel, aka Jamal.
I already subscribed. Yes.
And this is my favorite reaction video of him first listening to Hocus Pocus by Focus. And there are a lot of reaction videos to that song just simply because of they do the midnight special version where they speed up the song because they're trying to get 7 minutes a song into 4 minutes or whatever.
We've got this 7-minute song. Great. We're going to turn off the microphones at 4 minutes. Okay, we can do it.
And boy, do they ever. I mean, tell you.
It's more insane than what I heard on the radio as a 7-minute single. Yeah.
But this Jamel, aka Jamal, he's actually a really nice guy. Some of these reaction videos I've watched, I'm thinking, okay, these people have actually heard these songs before and they're just kind of faking it through to plug, get people to subscribe to them or whatever.
Yeah.
But this guy, he really, truly never knew and a lot of these songs, and he's around our age group, probably closer to Chris's age and a little bit younger than me, but he always talks about where he works, hearing snippets or pieces of songs on the Muzak, certain things he always liked, and he never knew what it was. And, so you'll hear him mention that time and time again. But he truly, really digs this music, and he's just beyond himself of all these different ones. And he'll go back and he'll say, now, people in the comments have suggested videos for him to watch and different things. And so he's all of a sudden become a fan of the Doobie Brothers because of different videos and that, or become a fan of whatever, Bad Company or something like that. But that Hocus Pocus, that was probably the first one I ever watched of any reaction video, and because of him, and I've seen other ones react to it, and some of them are pretty funny, but his is really quite genuine. And he seems like he's a really nice guy too.
Rebecca, Vocal Athlete's another one I like watching some of her reaction videos. Another
good one is College Students React. It's two guys that are they're actually playing music that was around when I was in high school and college that they swear they've never heard before. And then boom, there you are. And they actually will stop and analyze stuff, but they won't interrupt that often. There's another one. The girl is really, really cute, and she knows her stuff about music, but she stops to analyze entirely too often.
Yeah, that's Rebecca, Vocal Athlete.
Now,
yes,
I think
to avoid the copyright.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. They have to stop it every so often for that, because I guess Jamel, aka Jamal, he had a lot of his stuff pulled down, and he actually had his YouTube channel basically put in YouTube jail for
not stopping often enough.
Yeah, one whole weekend. And then another time it was a week, and then he kind of figured out what was going on, and then so he doesn't stop it all that much, but when he does stop it, he gives a genuinely wonderful reaction, and often funny.
He gives a really good breakdown of what it's like to be actually hearing this for the first time. And he's hearing it for the first time. It's not like he's faking it, because you can tell when they are faking it.
Yeah. And they say, well, okay, if he was around then, how did he ever miss that music? Well, you know what? We all have to one degree or another, because there are all certain groups that we never did listen to growing up when they had this album, that album come out. Maybe we thought that we didn't like them at the time or wouldn't like them. I particularly wasn't a fan at all of Big Hair music. Did I listen to Quiet Riot and Motley Crue and all those? No, I never did. So one of them I never listened to at the time was Def Leppard. And later on, I would start listening to it, and I'm like, okay, they're pretty good. And the first song I ever heard of theirs, I had already just mentioned it, Rocket. And because of seeing all the old video clips of Slade and Sweet and T-Rex and all them, Gary Glitter, I think, was in there. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. Okay, well, I'm going to start listening to a couple of the other things, and because the other videos would pop up on YouTube once you're done listening to that one anyway. But
Yeah.
And then I was the same way. I could have done reaction videos to Def Leppard because I seriously never did listen to him back in the 80s.
You were talking about the music these days not being so great, and some of the kids, finding their way back to older stuff. The music industry is controlled, for the most part, by 15-year-old females because they're usually the ones buying the music because they're like, Dad, can I have some money to buy this? Okay.
I like her hair so much.
And nobody else either wants to spend the money on the albums or is into it. They're into other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Guys are more into gaming or whatever, and that influences a lot of the music. And
it does.
Most of the reason the older acts are going out on the road is because that's really the only way bands make any money, because they don't make money off of album sales. What little money that's made off of it goes to the record companies.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that have the buying power at the moment are ones that enjoy the older groups. So they're making their last gasp before they get too old to play anymore.
It was running down a road to ruin, to quote one of my favorite Ramones albums. But music was going down a road to ruin because of digital downloads and that, and what people were pirating, everything else. Once again, modern technology can be a beast or a blessing. And so
Napster destroyed the fortunes of a lot of bands.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And one thing about the kids,
LimeWire, all those, yeah.
So the great thing about the resurgence of vinyl, all these people are like, well, wait a minute, why do you want vinyl on that? Because you can have the nice clarity of this download on this, through our service or whatever. No, people want the vinyl. People want something in their hand. They want that, and they might even want the crackles and the hisses and all that goes with vinyl too. But
the thing is, vinyl has a much warmer sound than digital.
Mm-hmm.
It's friendlier sounding than digital.
Well, Keith Richards doesn't like digital stuff, MP3s. He he's got such an ear tuned to music. He says he can tell the difference between them, and there's not as much fullness to the sound, richness to the sound, and he just really doesn't care for the digital musical medium.
Well, you got to remember, he was playing lead guitar for Franz Liszt and all these classical composers 1,400 freaking years ago.
He is ageless.
Yep. You have seen the meme where there's only two people left on Earth, and it's Keith Richards and Betty White, and both of them draw swords and go, there can only be one Keith.
Keith plays the guitars and Betty does the vocals.
Well, I remember a meme saying, we all need to start thinking about what kind of world we're going to leave for Willie Nelson and Keith Richards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another one I associate with my dad is Willie Nelson because.
Oh, I saw a meme the other day. It was Keith Richards with this little big boy, and Keith's got his guitar out there, and it's going, hey, and here's a photograph of Keith Richards teaching Willie Nelson how to play guitar.
Well, the funny thing is my dad had the actual 33 LP of Redheaded Stranger,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the albums I associate with my dad. For particular artist, and for Bob Seger, a lot of songs and all that I associate with the whole family, but Against the Wind's dad. That was him and mom divorced when I was young. He moved away, he came back, and that was one of the cassette tapes I had to listen to when I went to visit with him. So, like I said, there's an emotional connection to it, and a physical one, because
You'd
he
be
was there.
amazed how many people you have that sort of thing in common with. Not necessarily that particular artist, but that particular situation.
Yeah. And, that's one of the reasons why I love music, because, even though I was a little kid and I didn't know the whole situation, I knew everything wasn't always, hunky dory with mom and dad. But it seemed like whenever there was music playing, times were better. Things
were better. Yep.
When I think of the Outlaws, somebody starts talking about the Outlaws, and of course I love the group, the Outlaws, High Tides and Green Grass and all that. But I think of the album my brother bought. Well, actually, he had it on cassette, which was Wanted, the Outlaws, which was Waylon, Willie, and Chris, and Jesse Coulter. Chris Christopherson.
Yep.
And that, and I think, oh man. And I hear people talking about,
is a very underrated performer. I mean, he was always really good.
Well, the thing is, he kind of in the outlaw country category, but he was also a heck of a songwriter and a Rhodes Scholar at that.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't understand or realize how smart he is.
Well, he was doing real good up until the time that he was doing some acting.
Mm-hmm.
And people thought of him as an actor instead of a musician or a composer. And they just stopped seeing him any other way but as somebody you saw in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that was tragic right there. That was an injustice right there, because he had so much more to offer.
Convoy was so compelling with him as Rubber Duck. I mean,
yeah.
And there were other movies that he was good in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he was in Heaven's Gate, which we know how big of a box office disaster that was. But
well, we all got to be in one flop at least.
But he also did the Highway.
Stupid o'clock.
He also did the Highwaymen with Willie Nelson and I think it was Merle Haggard and Johnny Cash.
And that also became a TV series, but it didn't have anything to do with the song.
Yeah.
No.
That was actually an enjoyable TV series that I thought was cool, because they had the helicopter launch out of the tractor cab.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
And it had Sam Jones and Rocco, the crazy guy from the Energizer commercials.
Yeah. I actually, that was too short of a short-lived TV series, actually.
Yeah. They were watching pennies too dang much back then over stupid stuff. If they'd allowed it a chance to grow an audience, it would have been good. I would love to see it run for about 4 or 5 years.
The fancy trucks with the gadgets did cost an awful lot of money to build for just a few minutes of screen time. Yeah. But the stories weren't bad. The writing was not bad.
The acting was pretty good.
It was just really expensive for the props.
Yeah, I mean, Battlestar Galactica is one of my laments that they didn't do more. I mean, they had a high ratings for it. They just didn't want to spend money on it. If they'd have given it time, it would have.
Which version?
The original was one I'm talking about.
Original, yeah.
Thank you.
And Planet of the Apes the same way. And because Planet of the Apes was just they canceled it because it was just too damn expensive to make all the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not to mention all the time the actors spent in makeup. They probably hated all that.
Well, yeah.
Well, a lot of them I guess they I was watching an interview with Roddy McDowell, and they said a lot of the apes that you would see in the big crowd scenes would actually just have full rubber masks, and they wouldn't do the makeup just to get them in there.
Yeah.
So you would see a lot of them where General Urko, like in the one movie, says the only good human is a dead human, and then all the other apes are jumping up and down, and you notice there's so many of them that their mouths are not moving because it's just a rubber mask.
Yeah. The actual creature prosthetics for the makeup was so expensive and so.
Yeah.
If you've got to spend 6 hours a day in a makeup chair to do a 5-minute scene that takes another 6 hours to film, because you've got to get you've got to get the take right. So the cost for that sort of thing just mount exponentially.
Yeah. Now another series that I wish would have lasted longer, but it had some cool parts to it and some lame parts to it, was Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Because I thought they lost a little bit when they went to the Searcher, because Wilma kind of took a back seat, and the commander of that was kind of he's not quite totally uncharismatic, but he didn't have the charisma and the charm that M. O'Connor had as Dr. Hewer.
Yeah, you're talking about Captain Phil in the Blank.
Yeah.
They didn't write him a personality.
Yeah.
And the actor,
the actor did the best with what he had.
Yeah, he did the best he could with what he had, but they didn't give him much.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many TV series and movies, for that matter, that had the spark but didn't have the attention to detail.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about what would have happened if some of the series had the special effects back when they did. I don't know if you've heard about it or not, but Babylon 5 is about to do a reboot. And I'm thinking that cast is more or less irreplaceable because of the chemistry and just the quality and class of it. But the guy that wrote it is in charge of the reboot, so I have hopes that it will be good, because other than the special effects being a little bit lame and dated, that series still holds up to this day.
Well, they weren't lame. They were beyond state of the art. They were
cutting
edge at the time. But the main problem with that is 60 to 70% of the original cast
is dead. I know.
So you can't bring them back, not even for fan wanks guest shots, you know.
Oh no. I hate it.
The best you can do is some CGI to put somebody in who's not there to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And that's not the kind of that's not the man's style. That's not Straczynski's style of writing.
Well, the thing is, the stories were great, the characters were great, the casting was great.
His people,
and the effects were great at the time.
Oh yeah, they were fantastic. And did you ever see the original pilot movie?
Yes, I did. And Ivanova was not in it. They actually had the girl that played Daniel's love interest from Karate Kid 2 playing the station sub commander.
Did you actually notice that the movie version had totally different music from the TV series.
Well, the composer Christopher Franke, or Frank, however you pronounce it, reworked some of the stuff because I remember the original music to the show, and it changed over somewhere between season 2 or 3.
It changed from the pilot movie to the first season of the show. The pilot movie was Stuart Copeland from The Police.
Okay.
He wrote it, just, flat out wrote the whole damn thing.
Well, and Stuart Copeland is a good musician. I think he's one of those creative types that's difficult to work with.
Well, the thing is, they decided that a more classical action movie, sort of action TV series, sort of soundtrack would go better for the TV series.
Yeah.
But if you watch the original movie, this is all rock music. I mean, everybody else goes for, Blue Danube and other stuff, other classical music for space stuff. And this is brand new stuff here. That's you could hear it on the radio tomorrow and know what it is.
Didn't Stuart Copeland also do the theme song for The Equalizer?
I do believe he did.
From the original one, not that god awful reboot that they got out now. But
I'm not going to fault the actress that got into the reboot because she's really good.
Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
I like her in other things, but she is not. She is not
I
believable in that role.
I can't drink. Edward Woodard.
Yeah.
Woodard.
Yeah. Oh man,
he was wonderful.
Yeah.
That was pretty much written for him.
Yeah.
And I remember when
the movies.
Yeah, when the Equalizer first came out, it was about a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years before the Tim Burton Batman movie came out in '89. And I read a review about the Equalizer that somebody had wrote, saying that they saw some of the scripts from Batman '89, and they said, if you like the Equalizer, you're going to love the new Batman movie, because everything at the time was hyping the Batman movie for this thing or that thing. And
yeah, but I think that was fairly accurate, though. The feel of the show and the feel of the movie were pretty much.
Oh yeah, and I loved Edward Woodard on there. He was just, and hey, at the time, if the option had come up, what a wonderful person to be a new Bond at that time in the '80s. Older, which of course, how long has Connery been doing it? And I think he would have been wonderful.
Well, Brosnan would have got it if they hadn't the TV show producers hadn't bogged him down in contracts.
Hey, before we go any further, I'm going to have to tell you guys, I meant to get out of here a half hour ago. I was going to limit myself to the 2 hours, and
I was going to say it's really time for us to run the closing credits, but I got an early morning tomorrow, and I'm not even going to be able to watch Brian's show or anything. I'll watch all the stuff on reruns, but I got a lot to do tomorrow before. I'm trying to get away from the 5 and 6 hour recordings, because nobody's ever going to watch 6 hours of us talking on YouTube. Let me tell you.
Let me ask you this: are you doing a full show Saturday night, Dan, or are you going to have to?
Yes, I am. I am off from work until Tuesday night.
Okay.
which means I will miss everything from 6 p.m. Tuesday until Saturday morning. So I will not be on Stupid O'Clock next week. There will be no Last Man Standing next
On
week.
Thursday night.
On Thursday night, I will be on the Saturday night, and I will be gearing up for Hallowcon starting that Saturday. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'll be working Tuesday night through Friday night next week, and I have one day to work the Wednesday before Hallowcon.
Okay.
And then
is that day shift or not?
That will be day shift. That's why I'm on the team that I'm on.
Yeah.
Because I was allowed to go, hey, I need this vacation time. It's been planned out. I've got room reservations. I've got con memberships. And I cannot work Wednesday night and drive to north of Atlanta on Thursday morning.
Yeah.
This is not going, I'll be dead. I'll have a wreck. So, and they were kind enough to put me on the team that I'm on now. And I'm training this young guy, whose dad I used to work with out there in the same job that this kid's being trained for. So
it's awesome.
Irony can be pretty ironic sometimes.
Well, he will call his dad and go, how did you do this test here? They're trying to, and Dan's telling me that you did it this way, and everybody else is telling me, no, that ain't right. And his dad goes, no, do it my way.
So let's see, will you be in the green room tomorrow night or not?
Yes, I will. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
I've got tonight through Tuesday night.
Tuesday. Okay.
Yep. So I will be in everything from tonight through Monday. Tuesday to Friday next week, I will be on another planet.
So no Stupid O'Clock, Last Man Standing, or Green Room next week.
Next week for me.
Yeah. Ace. Didn't know you were around.
Hey, Ace.
Yeah.
Ace,
just in time to hear us say goodnight.
I'm sorry to say this, Ace, but we're about to close out the show. But Chris and I will probably stick around for a while, even after we stop broadcasting. I don't have the slightest idea how to keep including you in that, because I don't know if the comments keep going after we stop broadcasting, sort of thing. But
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a couple of things I really need to get to, but I really hate to stop talking with Chris about music,
oh, yeah.
And don't tell anybody I said that, or Brian will be after me and Chris to have a damn show on music for one night.
I've gone to bed and got up 3-4 hours later to go to the bathroom, and you two are still talking about music.
Will we do that?
It's easy to do. I get swept up into it myself, and so. But anyway, then I'll just go ahead and take this moment to Chris and Dan and Ace and anybody else out there in the shadows listening. Good night to every one of you, and I will see y'all tomorrow night in the green room whenever I get in there, depending on how long Laura's dad wants to stay at the auction. So that's why I got to get out of here now, because in order for me to get over there tomorrow afternoon and do that, I had to push some things up, and which I kind of did anyway, but even before I knew that Laura wasn't going to be going, but now I definitely have to because of some stuff. So
Bill, you do what you got to do, and don't worry about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll always be next time.
But y'all have a good night, and really good talking to you. And thanks for having me on. And that.
Oh,
And,
thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Had
bye,
fun.
Candias, everybody.
Enjoyed it.
You
Bye, Candias.
you have a good morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Bye bye. And that's about it for another Last Man Standing. I don't know if we go away when the credits stop rolling, Chris. I've forgotten exactly how this stuff works anymore. So
I don't know. I'll talk for a few more minutes if you want to.
Hey, I'm up for it, but like I said, I've got a couple.
I'm not planning on doing it all nighter. I can't.
I've got a couple of things I need to do before I can go to bed, and bed looks pretty damn good right about now.
Yep.
So let me see what this last comment was here. Ace, okay, yeah. Your work schedule changed a little bit too. Well, sorry to hear that. Hopefully you'll still get to attend the shows that you like, even if you have to come in a little later or miss a little bit of the beginnings and stuff.
Yep.
But that's this time changes.
Yep.
Nothing ever stays exactly the same, and it's up to us to go with the flow.
Yep.
Basically. Wow, that was highly philosophical for a dumb little git like me. Anyway, good night, everybody. Thank you. Hope you enjoy the replay whenever you watch it. Hope the people that are watching live really enjoyed it. We've got 6 likes and love hearts and whatnot. We've got 2 viewers right now, but we had as many as 8 viewers during the show. Thank you very much. To quote someone pretending to be Jimmy Carter during a nuclear war, thank you very much, Yon Yon. Good night.
What? You're still here? Go to bed. Go to bed. It's late.